Cole Brennan had been a firefighter for 17 years. At 45 years old, he had seen more emergencies than most people could imagine: fires, accidents, rescues that worked and ones that didn't. But he never got used to it. Every call still made his heart race. Every life saved still felt like a miracle. Cole was a single father. Now his daughter Lily was 14, in the center of his world. His wife had passed away from an illness 4 years ago. Since then it had been just the two of them figuring life out together. Cole worked long shifts at the fire station. Lily stayed with her grandmother. On those nights they had a rhythm, a life built on routines and trust. But lately Cole had been thinking about change. The physical demands of firefighting were getting harder. His knees ached, his back hurt. Some mornings he had been looking at desk jobs, fire safety inspector positions, administrative roles that would let him use his experience without risking his life. Every shift today was supposed to be his day off. Cole was driving home from dropping Lily at school when he saw the smoke, thick black clouds rising from an apartment complex 2 blocks away. His instincts kicked in immediately. He pulled over and grabbed his phone. Then he saw something that made his blood run cold. A woman was hanging out of a third-floor window. Smoke billowed around her. She was screaming for help. Cole could hear sirens in the distance, but they were not close enough. He knew how fast fire moved, how smoke could overcome someone. In seconds he ran toward the building. Other people were running away. The heat hit him like a wall as he got closer. The front entrance was engulfed in flames. No way through there. Cole circled around to the side of the building. There was a fire escape, but the ladder was up too high for anyone to reach from the ground. He looked around desperately. A dumpster sat against the building about 10 feet away. Cole ran to it and pushed with everything he had. The dumpster rolled slowly. Finally, he got it positioned under the fire escape. He climbed on top and jumped. His fingers caught the bottom rung of the ladder pane, shot through his shoulders. As he pulled himself up, the metal was already hot to the touch. He climbed fast. When he reached the 3rd floor, he could see the woman more clearly. She was younger than he thought. Maybe early 40s, dark hair, terrified eyes. She was coughing hard. Now the smoke was getting thicker. The window she was leaning out of was too small to climb through. Cole looked around. The apartment next to hers had a larger window. He could see flames inside, but not as intense. "Ma'am," Cole shouted, "can you get to the next window, the bigger one?" She shook her head. "The hallway is on fire. I cannot get there." Cole made a decision. He smashed the larger window with his elbow. Glass shattered. Flames licked out, but he could see they were contained to one side of the room. He climbed through. The heat was overwhelming. Smoke burned his lungs. He pulled his shirt over his mouth and dropped low where there was less smoke. He found the door to the hallway. When he touched the handle, it was hot. He wrapped his hand in his jacket and opened it carefully. Flames roared in the corridor, but he could see the door to the woman's apartment. It was only 15 feet away. 15 feet through fire. Cole took a breath and ran. The heat was incredible. He felt his jacket start to singe. He reached her door and kicked it open. The woman was on the floor, now overcome by smoke. Cole grabbed her and lifted her in his arms. She was unconscious, dead weight. He turned and ran back through the flames. His lungs screamed for air. Back in the room he had entered, he stumbled to the broken window. Fire trucks were pulling up below. Firefighters were jumping out, setting up ladders. Cole climbed onto the fire escape with the woman in his arms. He held her as carefully as he could while descending the metal stairs. His legs shook. His vision blurred when he reached the bottom. His colleagues were there. They took the woman from him, laid her on a stretcher, started oxygen, checked her vitals. Someone wrapped a blanket around Cole's shoulders. Someone else was asking if he was hurt. Cole watched as they worked on the woman. "Come on," he whispered. "Breathe." After what felt like an eternity, she coughed. Her eyes fluttered open. The paramedics kept working, but Cole could see she was going to make it. Captain Rodriguez appeared beside him. "Cole, what the hell were you thinking? You are not even on duty. No gear, no backup." Cole looked at his captain. "I saw someone who needed help." Rodriguez shook his head, but there was respect in his eyes. "You are either the bravest or the dumbest guy I know. Maybe both. Get yourself checked out." That is an order at the hospital. They treated Cole for minor burns and smoke inhalation, nothing serious. He would be sore for a few days, but he was fine. As he was being discharged, a nurse approached him. Mr. Brennan, the woman you saved, Isabella Moreno. She is asking to see you. Cole followed the nurse to a room. Isabella was sitting up in bed, oxygen tubes in her nose, soot still on her face, but she was alive. Her eyes found his immediately. You. She said, you saved my life. Cole shrugged. I did what anyone would do. Isabella shook her head firmly. No, most people would have waited for the fire department. You ran into a burning building with no equipment, no protection. She reached for his hand. Thank you. I have a son. He is 12 because of you. I will see him again. Cole felt his throat tighten. I am glad you are okay. They talked for a few minutes. Isabella told him she was a vice president at Meridian Industries, a large manufacturing company. She had been staying at the apartment temporarily while her house was being renovated. Cole told her about Lily, about being a firefighter, about his plans to maybe transition to something less dangerous. Before he left, Isabella handed him her business card. If you ever need anything, she said, a reference, a job, lead, anything, please call me. Cole took the card. Thank you. But I am just glad you are safe. 3 weeks later, Cole had a job interview, fire safety director position at Meridian Industries. It had come through the normal application process. He had applied weeks ago before the fire. The pay was better than his current job. The hours were regular. He could be home every night with Lily. The interview was scheduled for 2 in the afternoon. Cole wore his best suit. He arrived 15 minutes early. The receptionist directed him to a conference room on the executive floor. As he waited, Cole reviewed his notes. He wanted this job not just for the money or the schedule, but because he could still make a difference. Keep people safe, just in a different way. The door opened. Cole looked up and froze. Isabella Moreno walked into the room. She was dressed in a sharp business suit. Her hair was styled. She looked completely different from the terrified woman he had carried from the fire, but there was no mistaking her. Mr. Brennan, Isabella said. Her expression was professional but warm. Thank you for coming. I am Isabella Moreno, Vice President of Operations, and apparently we have already met. Cole stood. Miss Moreno, I had no idea. Isabella smiled. Please sit down, let me explain. She sat across from him. When I returned to work after the fire, I reviewed our open positions. I saw your application. Your qualifications are excellent. 17 years of firefighting experience, certifications in safety management, strong recommendations. You would have been a top candidate regardless. She leaned forward. But I will not pretend that what you did does not factor into my thinking. You ran into a burning building to save a stranger. That tells me more about your character than any interview question. Cole felt uncomfortable. Miss Moreno, I appreciate that, but I want this job on my own merit, not because of what happened. I understand, Isabella said. So let us conduct this interview properly. Let us talk about your qualifications, your experience, your vision for our safety program. And at the end, if you are the best candidate, the job is yours. If you are not, we will shake hands and part as friends. Fair enough, Cole agreed. They spent the next hour discussing the position. Isabella asked tough questions. What would you do if management pushed back on safety recommendations? How would you handle a situation where productivity and safety seem to conflict? How would you build a safety culture in a company of 5,000 employees? Cole answered honestly. He talked about his experience, about lessons learned from years of emergency response, about his belief that safety and productivity were not opposites, that protecting people was always the smart business decision. Isabella listened intently. She challenged some of his answers, pushed him to think deeper. By the end, Cole felt like he had earned whatever decision she made. There is one more person who wants to meet you, Isabella said. She stepped out and returned with an older man. This is Richard Calhoun, our CEO. Richard shook Cole's hand. Mr. Brennan, Isabella has told me what you did, and she has told me about your qualifications. I have one question for you. Cole nodded. Why do you want to leave firefighting? Cole thought carefully. I love being a firefighter. He said, it has been my identity for 17 years, but I have a 14-year-old daughter. I am all she has, and every time I go into a fire now I think about what happens. to her if I do not come out. He paused. I want to keep making a difference, keep protecting people, but I also want to be there for my daughter to see her graduate high school, to walk her down the aisle someday. This position would let me do both. Richard nodded slowly. That is a good answer, honest. He looked at Isabella, then back at Cole. Mr. Brennan, we would like to offer you the position. Cole felt relief wash over him. Thank you, I accept. Over the next months, Cole built a comprehensive safety program at Meridian. He trained staff, conducted inspections, updated emergency procedures he was good at. His job people respected him because he had been in the field. He understood real danger, not just theoretical risk. Isabella became not just his boss, but a friend. She invited Cole and Lily to dinner with her and her son Miguel. The kids got along immediately. Miguel was quiet and thoughtful. Lily was energetic and funny. They balanced each other one evening. 6 months after Cole started, Isabella asked to speak with him privately. They sat in her office overlooking the city. Cole, I want to tell you something. She began that fire. It was not the first time my life was in danger. 5 years ago, I was in a car accident, a bad one. I was trapped in my vehicle. A firefighter pulled me out minutes before it caught fire. Cole listened quietly for a long time. I was angry. Isabella continued, angry at the universe, at fate. Why did these things keep happening to me? But after you saved me, I realized something different. She turned to face him. Those events were not punishments. They were reminders that life is fragile, that every day is a gift, that we should spend our time on what matters. Cole, I was working 70-hour weeks, barely seeing my son, chasing promotions and titles. After the fire, I changed. I started leaving at 5, having dinner with Miguel every night. We talk now, really talk. She smiled. You saved more than my life that day. Cole, you saved my relationship with my son. Cole felt his eyes sting. I am glad, he said quietly. A year after Cole started at Meridian, the company held its annual safety awards. Cole stood at the podium looking out at 5,000 employees. He talked about near misses. They had prevented accidents that had not happened because people followed procedures. He talked about the culture they were building together, where everyone looked out for everyone else. At the end, Isabella joined him on stage. She announced that Meridian had gone an entire year without a serious workplace injury. The first time in the company's 40-year history. The room erupted in applause. Later at the reception, Richard Calhoun approached Cole with Isabella. Cole, we have been talking, Richard said. We want to expand your role, make you Vice President of Safety and Culture, oversee not just safety but wellness programs, employee support, building a workplace where people thrive. Cole was stunned. I do not know what to say. Say yes. Isabella laughed. Cole looked at both of them. Yes. That evening, Cole drove home thinking about how life works. A year ago, he had been wondering if he still had anything to offer, questioning whether his best days were behind him. Now he had a job. He loved a role where he made a real difference, and friends who had become like family. When he got home, Lily was doing homework at the kitchen table. Hey, Dad, she said without looking up. How was your day? Cole sat down across from her. It was good, really good. Lily looked up and smiled. You look happy. I am. Cole said, I really am. That night, after Lily went to bed, Cole stood on their small balcony. The city lights spread out before him. He thought about the choices that had led him here. The decision to stop that day when he saw smoke. The decision to climb that fire, escape. The decision to run through flames for a stranger. Any of those choices could have gone differently. He could have driven past, waited for the fire department, made the safe choice. But he had not, and that decision had changed everything, not just for Isabella, but for him, for Lily, for all the employees at Meridian who now went home safe every day. One moment of courage, one decision to act, had created ripples that spread farther than he could have imagined. Cole understood now what he had always known deep down. We are not defined by our jobs or our titles. We are defined by what we do when someone needs help, by whether we run toward danger or away from it, by whether we see opportunities to make a difference and take them. He had been a firefighter for 17 years. Now he had a different title, but he was still doing the same thing, protecting people, making sure they got home to their families, fighting fires of a different kind, and that he thought was exactly what he was meant to do. If this story inspired you, please like and share it with someone who might need a reminder that it is never too late to make a difference. Subscribe for more stories about courage, purpose, and the unexpected ways our lives change when we choose to help others. Leave a comment telling us about a time you took a risk to help someone, or a time someone risked something for you. Every act of courage creates possibilities we cannot predict. Thank you for listening,